Hello and welcome to Rise Unwind. My name is Dan. You know, each and every week we talk to people from across the country about things you could do right here in your neighborhood. And on this week's show, we got this.
A lot of people have this misnomer that if they wait until the last minute, they're going to get some kind of great deal or some kind of great discount. I'm not going to say that that doesn't happen once in a while, but really, if you want to have the vacation of a lifetime, you need to plan in advance.
For our boys, we're seeing our taper fades and our taper blowouts. And I hate to break it to you, but the mullet has never left. It's just been modified.
Here at the Shelters is the nation's largest adoption campaign. It happens all throughout the month of August, and it is really a push to help more animals find loving homes.
By the end of lunch, they were like, we've never done a unscripted show, but let's do one. And we were like, oh my goodness, okay. And then kind of went to the drawing board of like what this could look like.
All of that and more right here on Rise Unwind. Have you ever wondered what it takes to turn a classic story into something that feels fresh for a new generation? A Woman of Substance tells a story of Emma Hart, a woman who rises from humble beginnings to become one of the most powerful business figures of the 20th century. So joining us today are Jessica Reynolds and Brenda Blethyn, who play Emma at different stages of her remarkable life. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Hiya.
Good,
Thank you.
All right, so for viewers who may not know the story, what is it about Emma Hart that has made a Woman of Substance such an enduring character for generations?
Well, it's a wonderful story of rags to riches, really, in a nutshell. A woman who rises from poverty against all the odds to become the richest woman in the world. And she's driven by a sense of justice and to get revenge on people who did her wrong.
What she said.
And Jessica, we first meet Emma as a young woman with enormous ambition. What drew you to her, and what was the biggest challenge in bringing that version of Emma to life?
I think it's just such an inspiring story, and to have a period piece that is also from a working class woman's perspective is quite rare, and to see her kind of grow and evolve into this larger than life version of herself, you know, like I can't imagine her ambitions were to be the richest woman in the world, but it happened for her. And I think that's because of the traumatic background and the difficult background that she comes from, and it just shows the strength of those communities and people from those backgrounds. So that was very alluring, yeah.
And Brenda, you play Emma after she's built this incredible empire. What do you enjoy most about stepping into such an iconic role?
The costumes. The maker, after playing DCI Vera Stanhope for 14 years, it's quite nice to get out of the Mac and the hat and the grotty old house she lived in. But she's such an iconic character, and some people would say not particularly sympathetic. I often play sympathetic characters, so this was a bit of a diversion for me, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Even though you two are playing the same character at different ages, what conversations did the two of you have to make sure Emma felt like the same person throughout her journey?
Zero.
Okay.
I think like that there's such a distance between them, not only in age but also in experience. Like I think one of the biggest points is that she becomes a completely different person, and it's up for the audience to decide whether that's for the better or not.
And Emma refuses to accept the limitations society places on her. Why do you think her story still resonates with audiences today?
Because there's still a bit of a discrepancy between equal wages between men and women. I bet a female engineer doesn't get as much as a male engineer, and in lots of professions there's not equality, and there should be.
Hey, I want to thank you two for joining me today. A Woman of Substance is now available on BritBox. For more information and to learn more about the series, visit BritBox.com. Jessica, Brenda, I really want to thank you two for joining me today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Some mysteries stay hidden for decades, and sometimes even longer. A new season of Expedition Unknown follows explorer Josh Gates as he travels the world chasing lost civilizations, legendary treasures, and some of history's biggest unanswered questions. One of this season's most remarkable discoveries involves a long-lost World War II shipwreck connected to more than 1,000 missing Allied prisoners of war. Josh Gates joins us now. Welcome to the show, Josh. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
All right, you've spent years investigating mysteries around the world, but this season opens with the discovery of Hofuku Maru. What was it like to be part of a search that carried so much historical and emotional weight?
This is an amazing experience. I'm really excited for folks to see the season premiere. This ship is what's known as a hell ship. It's a part of World War II that myself, and I'm sure many people, really didn't know much about. These were prison ships that were used by the Japanese to transport Allied POWs around the Pacific. And we work with this incredible organization. These guys you see there on the screen, they're part of a group called the Hell Ships Memorial Foundation. These guys have spent years digging through archives, looking for clues as to the location of this ship, the Hofuku Maru. And after 80 years of being lost, their research has led to it being found. So for us to be able to take our viewers there and get a firsthand look at a ship where 1,000 POWs went down is a really emotional thing and a really thrilling expedition that a lot of hard work went into for these guys. And so I'm thrilled to feature their hard work on the show.
And that story of Japanese hell ships isn't really something many people learn about in school. What surprised you most as you dug into this chapter of World War II history?
Well, the scale of it. I mean, there were about 135 of these hell ships that transported, over 100,000 POWs during the war. And many of these ships were sadly bombed by U.S. forces. The Japanese disguised these ships within their military convoys, and so they became unintentional targets for the Allies, making this kind of a doubly tragic story. But the fact of the matter is there are thousands of these POWs still out there that have not been found. And so this is an opportunity to really fulfill that promise of no man left behind, right? And to go and search for them. They've been waiting all this time. So really shocking numbers of people that are still out there and that there are still big discoveries like this to be made from World War II. So really exciting stuff.
And your team helped locate a wreck that had been lost for more than 80 years. Can you walk us through how modern technology and old archival research came together to make that discovery possible?
Yeah, so the real crux of the discovery is the good old-fashioned sleuthing that was done by this researcher, John Dureski, who's part of the Memorial Hell Ships Foundation. This guy went digging not just in the American archives, but in the Japanese archives. And it was the Japanese archives that offered a clue as to where this ship sank. Many people thought that it sank about 30 miles away from where it was found. Using that research, sonar survey was done. A wreck was located on sonar. We then went out and dove down to really get eyes on this wreck and to begin photogrammetry, which is a photography scan of the wreck to really see it from all angles and to kind of bring it back to life in a way. So yes, it's this combination of good old-fashioned detective work and some high-tech tools.
And this season also takes viewers from underwater wrecks to ancient civilizations, hidden tunnels, and lost treasures. Was there one adventure that pushed you furthest outside of your comfort zone?
Oh, I mean, we go to Mexico in this season searching for the story behind one of Mexico's oldest civilizations, the Zoque. They went way out into the jungles in the Chiapas region of Mexico. This is a really wild part of the Mexican interior and huge caves, huge cliffs. So going underground in Chiapas into the world of the Zoque was hugely demanding, but also just about as exciting as you can imagine. Going out into these caves that nobody has explored to find artifacts that have been sitting down there, offerings that have been sitting in the dark for centuries.
And after all these years of exploring the unknown, what keeps you chasing the next mystery, and what can viewers expect from this new season?
I think it's the same thing that had me interested in this when I was watching The Goonies as a kid. These stories are just naturally incredibly engaging. What kid doesn't dream of finding pirate treasure, secret tunnels, lost civilizations? These stories just have such a natural hook, and they're real. This is real history. And so I think for me, I'm like a kid in a candy store out there. The opportunity to go and explore these stories is the thrill of a lifetime. And to share that with our viewers is really what it's all about.
You're also going on a live tour from city to city across the country. What can we expect from your show?
Yeah, so an evening of legends and mysteries and adventure. If you're a fan of the show, it's an opportunity to dig a little deeper, go behind the scenes. And if you're just finding the show, but you love adventure, and who doesn't, it's a chance to listen to some awesome myths and legends and stories. And so folks can get tickets to that at joshgates.com. It may not be listed yet. Those shows will be coming very soon onto the website there. But it will be an awesome evening of adventure for the whole family. So if you have kids that are into adventure, or if you grew up as a fan of Raiders and Goonies and all that stuff, it's going to be a super fun evening.
Josh Gates, I want to thank you for joining me today. For more information on Expedition Unknown, episode schedules, and behind-the-scenes content, visit discovery.com. And for tickets to Josh Gates' live show, visit joshgates.com. Josh, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Hey, thank you so much. Good to see you again.
Jep and Jessica Robertson became familiar faces with the Robertson family on Duck Dynasty, but now they're trading the Louisiana Bayou for a new chapter in Texas. Their new series, Jep and Jess Beyond the Bayou, follows life at Comanche Moon Ranch and their efforts to build a community around family, hard work, and at a little slower pace of life. Welcome to the show, you two. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having us.
Okay, you guys made a pretty big change going from Louisiana to this new life in Texas. What made you decide it was time for a new chapter?
Well, I feel like it was a God thing. It just came about. We met with Bill Abbott at Great American Media and Caitlin Holbrook, and we were just sharing life with them. We had worked with Great American Media on several projects, and by the end of lunch, they were like, well, we've never done a unscripted show, but let's do one. And we were like, oh my goodness, okay. And then kind of went to the drawing board of like what this could look like. And so we really do think that God opened this door. And after meeting with the kids and kind of analyzing the pros and cons, we decided, let's do this. Let's do this adventure.
And this is more than just moving to a ranch. What are you hoping to build at Comanche Moon Ranch?
So we've actually built some really cool, unique stays. And it's funny, that was kind of something that wasn't planned at first. We were just getting a little ranch out there. I mean, what I will say about this show is it's very, very authentic. This is what we're actually doing. And we're just kind of documenting everything that's happened up to this point. And yeah, it's been amazing. It's just a beautiful property. You can come out, like people can come out and stay here. And there's actually, like, if you're watching it and you're like, oh man, I love those ranches out there. Yeah. We have little ranches for sale. You got to come out and buy a ranch if you want to.
And be a neighbor.
It's really cool.
I think the big thing is like when we got out there, we had kind of a vision for, going out there. And then once we got out there, I just feel like the doors kept opening, visions kept coming, and it became a bigger picture than what our little small minds anticipated. And really just looking at it as knowing that this will outlive us, and think about all the families, all the people, all the community groups, and father, son, getaways. I think there's just a lot of special moments that will happen out there, and it's going to outlive us. And that's such an amazing thing.
And we get to see everything from big ranch projects to family dinners and welcoming new neighbors. What was important to you about showing that side of your lives?
Well, I mean, community is a big deal to us. And the first episode is kind of us talking about with our group, our church group, kind of this decision and should we do it? And it took a lot of prayer and thoughtfulness. And I think that just kind of shows you kind of where we're at in life and what community means to us. Mm-hmm. And we've met some amazing people out at the ranch, our neighbors. They're super cool. And that's what we like about it. We play pickleball together. So it's just a really neat place to get out, unplug from the busy hustle bustle of life.
And you've both spent a lot of your lives around cameras. How does Beyond the Bayou feel different from what viewers have seen from you before?
I think for one, it's, we're doing this kind of on our own with just our kids, and then actually get to introduce some of our community, our new friends out in Texas. Some are old friends. We've made some new friends. And I think that's the beauty of it is building a community wherever you're at, and being vulnerable, going out there and meeting people and being a support system for each other.
And there's a bigger idea in the show about slowing down and building a life that really means something to you. Has making this move changed what happiness or success looks like for you and your family?
I don't know about that, but something I guess we've been talking about a lot is, my mom told me when I was a kid, a true friend cares about your soul more than your happiness. And that always affected me. And it's something I try to live by, is like, I would rather follow Christ is
Yeah.
what we do than anything else. And so, our faith really comes out in this show, and which I think is just us. So.
Jep, Jess, Beyond the Bayou is streaming on Great American Pure Flix with new episodes Thursdays. You can also catch it Saturdays at 9 on Great American Family and GFAM+. Thank you two for joining me today.
Thank you.
Shelters across the country are still dealing with a lot of animals in need of homes, and August brings us a nationwide push to help change that. Clear the Shelters is back for its 12th year, connecting people with adoptable pets while also encouraging fostering and volunteering. Joining us today is Hannah Shaw, better known as the Kitten Lady, as an animal rescuer and New York Times best-selling author. Welcome to the show, Hannah. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
All right, Hannah, can you give us a sense of what Clear the Shelters is all about this year and why the mission is especially important right now?
Absolutely. Clear the Shelters is the nation's largest adoption campaign. It happens all throughout the month of August, and it is really a push to help more animals find loving homes. Unfortunately, we do have an ongoing capacity crisis in our nation's shelters. Last year, 5.8 million cats and dogs entered animal shelters, and more animals entered than left. So this month is a time where I'm teaming up with Hill's Pet Nutrition. They're the presenting sponsor for Clear the Shelters, and we're really asking anyone who's been considering adoption to get out there and make this the month that you bring home a new cat or dog.
So what would you say to someone who's thinking about adopting but may still be on the fence?
Yeah, if you're on the fence about adopting, it never hurts to go and explore your local shelter. It's a great thing to know what's going on in your community. You can find out about volunteering or fostering, but you just might be surprised by who you bond with. There are so many lovely cats and dogs looking for homes right now, and the adoption counselors are there to help talk to you about that and to learn about your lifestyle and your family and to help you find the right match.
And bringing a new pet home can be a big adjustment for everybody. What are some of your biggest do's and don'ts for making that transition a little easier?
Sure. When you bring home a new cat or dog, remember that everything is new to them. So they're going to need to get used to the sights, the smells, the sounds, the new people. So give them a safe space to do that. I always recommend having a little home base, whether that's in your bedroom or in your bathroom, even a small area where they have access to their supplies, to their food, their water, and they can really build confidence from there. And then they can branch out from that area. But be patient with them in that space. And one thing I do want to mention that's so cool is throughout the month of August, participating shelters are going to be giving away these adoption starter kits from Hills. And in these kits, it has a lot of those supplies and toys that you'll need. It also has a bag of science diet food, so your animal can get the right nutritional start. So you don't have to do this alone. You have a lot of support, especially this month for Clear the Shelters.
And for people who want to help, how can they get involved with Clear the Shelters?
Well, if you or someone you know is ready to adopt, definitely get out there. There's a lot of different adoption events happening this month, a lot of adoption promotions. And even if you can't adopt, can you foster? This is my little foster puppy, and just a few more weeks for him in foster care, and he'll be able to go to his forever home. So that's less of a commitment, but it still makes a very big difference. So you can go to hillscleartheshelters.com to learn more about various ways you can help and to find a participating shelter near you.
All right, so where can our viewers go to learn more?
They can go to hillscleartheshelters.com to learn more and find a participating shelter.
Hannah Shaw, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thanks so much.
Back to school shopping usually gets all the attention, but there's one last minute item that can turn into a scramble for a heck of a lot of families. It's a haircut. The good news is that there are ways to make that part of the routine just a little bit easier. Joining us today is Astoria Stubbs, Great Clips National Design Team Lead. Welcome to the show, Astoria. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for having me this morning.
Thanks for being here today. What haircut trends are you seeing for kids and teens heading back to school this year?
Yep, so the 90s are back in, and our girls are wearing lots of curtain bangs, lots of layering and face frame, adding lots of texture and volume to the hair. And of course, the bob has not gone out of style. We're just adding a little bit of texture to it. For our boys, we're seeing our taper fades and our taper blowouts. And I hate to break it to you, but the mullet has never left. It's just been modified.
So what's influencing those trends? Are like kids bringing ideas from social media, maybe celebrities or somewhere else?
Of course, all the above. It's the social media, pop culture, what they see athletes wearing. They're bringing in all the styles, and that's how they're wanting their haircut.
And for busy mornings, what are some easy hairstyles or haircut choices that save parents and kids time?
So rule of thumb is working with your child's hair texture. So if they have curly hair, you want to make sure you get a look that's going to be easy for them to do in the morning. If they have straighter hair, you want to make sure you're working with a haircut or a hairstyle that's easy for them in the morning, adding texture and volume to the hair.
Are there a few affordable products that you recommend to keep those styles looking good without adding a heck of a lot of work?
Of course. So for those texture blowouts, we're using a little bit of texture powder in the top of the head just to create some extra volume. And for a little bit of hold throughout the day, we have some gel or some mousse you can use. And when I say that, a little bit goes a long way. It truly does. I mean, a dime size to a nickel size is all that you need just to get a little bit of hold throughout the day. And for your girls, we're going to be using lots of leave-in conditioner and a little bit of curling cream or a little bit of curl cream to make sure that we are smoothing out the frizz and then going along with that texture.
And parents are always looking to save time. How can technology help make getting back to school haircut a little easier?
So Great Clips has taken the fuss out of that with our online app. You can download the app and you can check in as many kiddos as you need to. Mom and dad can also get a haircut. And the great thing about it is it tells you exactly what the wait time is. And then it gives you a little alert to let you know when it's time for you to come into the salon for your haircut. So nice, quick, and easy.
All right, so where can people go for more information?
Yeah, for more information on downloading the Great Clips app or any of the back to school information, you go to greatclips.com/back to school.
Astoria, I want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me, Dan.
Have you noticed more people spending their money on trips instead of buying more stuff? For a lot of travelers, vacations have become about making memories, seeing new places, and having experiences they'll remember for years. Today, we're joined by Ken Muscat, president of Scenic Group at USA and LATAM, to talk about the travel trends driving that shift. Welcome to the show, Ken. How are you, my friend?
I'm great. Thanks for having me.
Okay, so we're hearing that more people are investing in experiences instead of things. Why do you think that's becoming such a big priority?
I think it's great. I think it's a big priority because people are valuing memories. Memories are appreciating in value much more than tangible items. So going on vacation, building stories for life, getting into experiences that you wouldn't be able to experience anywhere else, enjoying the destination, the culture, being one with the culture and the destination that you're visiting is becoming far more valuable for people. Those Instagrammable moments and those memories that they could share with family and friends is something that people are counting on these days.
So what are some of the biggest travel trends that you're seeing right now, and where are people choosing to go?
Sure. Well, I think some of the biggest travel trends that people are experiencing or that we're seeing today is planning as far in advance as possible. A lot of people have this misnomer that if they wait until the last minute, they're going to get some kind of great deal or some kind of great discount. I'm not going to say that that doesn't happen once in a while, but really, if you want to have the vacation of a lifetime, you need to plan in advance. So you go to the destination you want. In our case, you get the stateroom category that you want, the ship, and the date that you're looking for. What we're seeing as far as trends is cultural immersion is becoming huge. Demand for smaller luxury ships, like what we offer on river cruises or on our specialty yachts on both Scenic and Emerald cruises. Those smaller yachts are becoming a huge trend now in the cruise industry, where 30% of all ships that are out there in the cruise industry today are 1,000 people or less. So a lot of people think, when I think about cruise, it's going to be on these big ships that hold 6,000, 7,000 people. There's more of a trend now of going on these smaller ships because they get into ports and into cities, the heart of the city that most ships can't get into. And we're also seeing a demand for connecting a cruise vacation with a land journey. So for example, you could go on one of our yachts in the Seychelles, and then you can piggyback that with an African safari. So these kinds of things, and to your point, the destinations like the Seychelles, like the Caribbean, like the Mediterranean, like Antarctica, the expedition, the discovery kind of destinations, as well as river cruises, are becoming super hot trends these days.
That sounds incredible. But travel isn't cheap these days. How are people balancing those dream vacations with being smart about their budgets?
Well, I think one of the most important things is to make sure that you're investing in exceptional experiences, but you also want that transparency and the value and the confidence. So one of the biggest questions that you need to ask is, what is actually included to make sure that my dollars are going as far as possible? People don't mind spending money on memories and once in a lifetime bucket list kind of experiences, but they want to make sure that they're getting a true value for that. They don't want surprises that you're spending X amount of dollars up front, and then once you get on board, in our case, once you get on board a cruise ship, you start getting nickel and dime for everything else. So making sure that you know what is included in the vacation experience is going to make sure that that smart spending happens. You want to be able to budget with confidence and not worry about those additional costs. So that's really one of the most important things. In our case with Scenic, everything's included. So you've got the food, you've got the drinks, you've got gratuities, you've got shore excursions, everything that you can think of, which makes it much easier for the guest or for the client to spend those dollars up front and know that there's not going to be any surprises at the end.
We've been hearing lately the term immersive travel experiences. What does that really mean, and why are so many travelers looking for them?
It's all about connection, Dan. People are looking for those places that they're really going to visit once in their life, that they're going to be able to get off the ship and they can actually go to somebody's home in the destination that they're going to and get a home cooked meal and learn about the culture. Imagine something like that, something that is very, very unique. More time getting into the heart of the city and experiencing what the city has to offer you, whether it be from a cultural immersive perspective, a culinary perspective, a wine perspective. This is what people are looking for. That's what immersive means. It means connecting with the people that you're traveling with and connecting with the destinations that you're visiting and the communities that you're visiting. And that's what we really pride ourselves on offering.
And some people hear the words luxury vacation, they might panic and immediately think it's out of reach. Has luxury travel become more accessible? And what should travelers consider before investing in a premium trip?
It's far more accessible. A lot of people think luxury and they think, oh, that's going to be out of my range, or even more so, they think I have to do that once I'm retired and I have more time. It's actually far more accessible now. It's far more affordable than people think. You can do luxury vacations on 7-night cruises. It doesn't have to be a lengthy 21-night cruise. And again, back to my point of talking about things being all included. When you think of the all-inclusive experience, you know what you're getting hit up with right up front. And then you're able to evaluate that value and make sure that your dollars are going as far as you want them to go. So that is the biggest consideration. And people are looking for these unique experiences. It's important to understand, what is the size ship? What is the guest to crew ratio? What is the service that I'm going to get on board? What is the kind of food and dining experience I'm going to get on board? And how long am I going to be in port? People don't want anymore to be, visiting a port from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and then have to rush back on the ship. They want to get there at 7 in the morning and they want to be able to stay late at night, or in some cases even overnight. So those are the kinds of questions that are very critical to ask.
All right, Ken, where can we go for more information? Maybe even book a trip for ourselves.
Well, you could go to scenic.cruises or emerald.cruises to learn all about Scenic and Emerald cruises and tours. Hopefully book a trip for yourself. We have itineraries open through 2028 and 2029. So the sooner the better.
Ken Muscat, I really want to thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
And that's it for Rise Unwind. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking out the show. If you want to find our show on social media, just look up @Rise Unwind. We have a YouTube channel where you can subscribe and find new episodes each and every week. Plus, go to our website. That's riseunwindtv.com. And until next week, that was the show we like to call Rise and Unwind.